Hey guys, how's it going? It's Labor Day. Hopefully, everybody had a good weekend. It went by way too fast, if you ask me. I was getting ready to do my AEW podcast, which I'm going to do right after this. But the reason why I'm doing this first is because I am watching Raw right now. I don't have a Yankee game to watch, it was a day game. And football doesn't start until Thursday. So I have Monday night to flip back and forth. But the reason why I'm speaking right now, or doing this particular episode right now, is because that top three list that I did about who Triple H should bring back. At the top of my list was Bray Wyatt. Number two was EC3. And the third person is the person who is on the screen right now is Braun Strowman. So Braun Strowman's back in the WWE. So, a lot of questions. Biggest question is the reason why Braun got let go in the first place was because his contract was too high. So I'm wondering now, how did they work that out? Did did he accept less money? Did he get a similar deal because what? Because, Triple H is running things now, so, I guess Vince's reasons, that's just the confusion part, do people come back to their jobs for less money? So did Braun come back for less money? Did he come back for this? I'm pretty sure he'd come back for more money. Because, again, that was the reason why he got let go in the first place. So right now they're doing a split screen of commercial, and Braun is still in the ring. He just grabbed Chad Gable, is about to do his running power slam. So they're really, really giving the crowd something because the crowd came off their feet when Braun came out. So it's just interesting what deal was struck because again he was let go because his contract was too high and they were just cutting everybody at that time that Braun was let go. So I can see him being brought back for similar money. I don't think it was anything that much less. But I don't know, he's screaming something in the TV right now. I don't know what he's doing. I have the TV on mute so I can do this. But I'm just like wondering how did that conversation go between Triple H, Stephanie, and Nick Khan? I'm just like curious how that whole conversation went about bringing this guy back. He definitely looks great. I mean, he's lean. He's much leaner than what he was when he first came. You know, he looks great. The question is, or other questions is, where does he fit in? Right now, it doesn't look like you have a new challenger for Roman Reigns. So are you going to insert Braun into that? And there's history there. There is certainly stuff you can piggyback off of between Braun and Roman Reigns. It looks like Drew McIntyre thing is done. From what I've read, it seems like they're about to move him into a storyline with Karrion Kross. And I would have figured that Karrion Kross was going to be the next one to challenge Roman, but I guess they're going to insert Drew and Karrion first, and then maybe Karrion will move on. But I mean, this certainly changes things now that you have Braun here. Like I said, you can certainly make a case of Braun challenging Roman because there's history there, you know. But the interesting thing, and I keep saying that. Another interesting thing is who we haven't seen since Triple H has taken over. And one of the people you haven't really seen that much, you haven't seen almost that much. So, in the back of your mind, did you bring Braun back because Omos is not working out? You need him to do some more training. Just thinking along those lines because you haven't really seen R-Truth that much. You haven't seen anything regarding the 24/7 title. So, because that was just stupid as hell with that 24/7 title. So just again, just the changes that we're seeing with Triple H in charge, and he's just bringing back everybody that was let go. Did he feel they were let go for the wrong reasons? Did he feel they were let go because they didn't reach their full potential? I mean, yes, Braun is a former Universal Champion. You know, it wasn't the best. I mean, he got the title shot because of COVID, because it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, but Roman Reigns dropped out, so it was Goldberg versus Braun, and obviously Goldberg had fulfilled his contractual obligations at that time. So really, the only scenario or the only option was for Braun to walk out with the Universal Championship. So I'm wondering now who's the next person that Triple H is going to bring back. Now, he did do an interview with Bray Wyatt. He sort of danced around the question when the person asked him what's going on with Bray. I still believe Bray is going to come back. Um, I do believe he flirted with AEW, but again, and I'm going to get into this when I do my AEW podcast right after this, the dynamic shifted when Triple H took over and Vince was out. So now, does Bray feel, hey, I have some unfinished business? I'm with somebody who's going to allow me more creative freedom and will listen to me and not just shoot down my ideas at a snap of a finger. What's going to be new for Braun? I mean, clearly Braun has come back in his old character. And, I don't see Triple H, messing with that. And now I'm wondering, now that Braun is back, will we see EC3 come back? Because they were doing that, I think, didn't they both invest in that promotion, the whole create your own narrative thing? And was it that show? There was something that they said it wasn't selling well, and they ended up canceling the show. I don't know if that was their thing or not. But remember, they were starting to start their own promotion. Would EC3 want to pull away from that? Or again, does he feel differently because Triple H is there? And EC3 had a lot of success in NXT, who was run at the time by Triple H. So it's not impossible for EC3 to come back. So out of my list, one has come back so far, number 3. So I'm wondering, will I see 1 and 2, and who would come back first? I can see Braun probably saying, okay, let me go there for a little, let me go back. Listen, it's totally different, listen, you want to come back here. So it is nice to see Braun back. And I think this puts more pressure on them to separate the titles. Because it's not back in the day where you just had a few top people. You've built up a roster that you have a lot of top tier people, a lot of top tier talent. Whereas back in the day, you could probably count them on one hand and maybe a little bit on the second hand and, rotate those guys. I mean, you have Bobby Lashley, you have Karrion Kross now. Now you have Braun Strowman back. You have Drew McIntyre. You have Kevin Owens. You have Finn Balor. I'll even know Damian Priest in there that they're building him up. You have Sami Zayn. If I said Kevin Owens again, I apologize, but you have Kevin Owens. You have Cody back. You have a lot of guys. Seth, Riddle. You have a lot of guys that you are going to make realistic that they're going to challenge and can challenge for that championship. And continuing to just have one makes it difficult for you to keep inserting. Now, you can go what you did back in 2003 with Triple H and just give him a new opponent every month. I mean, that's what they were essentially doing with Roman. He was ping-ponging between people, your Brocks, your John Cena's, your Edge, Finn Balor, Daniel Bryan before he left. You were ping-ponging them. But, you want to have, a decent storyline. Again, back in the day, how many times did we see Triple H and The Rock go at it? They went at it for the Intercontinental Championship. They had that great match at SummerSlam of '98 at Madison Square Garden. And then how many times did we see them go for the WWF Championship? How many times have we seen, Stone Cold and Triple H go at it? Stone Cold and The Rock was really only saved for WrestleMania. But you would like to see, that long storyline that we used to get back in the day, rather than, okay, you feud for a couple of weeks, you have your match, and then it's over, we're on to the next one. And in some ways, it does make sense, but others, you want to stay engaged a little bit. I understand, we have a short attention span, and trying to do, a 6 month program with, for example, Finn and Roman might be difficult to do. We're only going to do it for, 2 months. But, you can also do something compelling where you can stretch that for 5 or, 6 months or whatnot. And I think that's one of the issues with AEW is that their storylines are just, well, for one thing, uninteresting, but also they just move too quickly. And sometimes it just seems like they're just feuding just for the hell of it, whereas there being some meaning, behind it. Like right now, I think their best storyline right now is Jungle Boy and Christian because of how you're stretching it and how you're making it so personal and how you got teased at All Out last night. But I'll speak on that on the next one. And by the way, I thought about this after I did the post show after Clash at the Castle about Dominic being heel. It started off with heel Dominic, and I'm like, really, it makes sense for him to want to join the Judgment Day because they beat down on him. But I was forgetting that I was saying that if you can't beat him, join him, and I should have seen that coming with that little tease that they were doing between Rhea Ripley and Dominic. How he's really under her spell. So it's an interesting concept. It's just I think it should have been done a little bit sooner because I feel like now you're forcing the story. And I know I just said you want long storylines, but this feels like now you're forcing the storyline to go on. You teased us with a Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley. So now we're gonna see Edge and Mysterio take on Judgment Day. I mean, eventually we're gonna get the one-on-one with Dominic and Ray. We're gonna get the one-on-one with Dominic and Edge. I'm pretty sure. But I just think we should be more towards the end of the Judgment Day storyline, and it just seems like now we're like just getting to the middle, but it just took so long, and it was just it just wasn't handled the right way to make you now want to see more of what's going on, if that makes sense. So yes, I think we need a little bit of a longer storyline, but it has to be done properly, and I think it got kerfuffled because Vince sort of screwed it up when you took out Edge, and then you kept pretty much having them lose on top of that, whereas they should have continued their dominance. Then you kept having them lose, so then to me it takes some of that threat of the Judgment Day away. And I think that's where the long storytelling kind of gets a little fucked up. But that's the one thing I wanted to kind of come back and just correct that. And in a way, it does make sense for him to join Judgment Day, which he did. But anyway, this is just a short one. I just really wanted to comment on just Braun Strowman being back. And what are we going to see? Are we going to see him go after the United States Championship? Supposedly they're still doing this draft. Is he going to land on SmackDown? What's Braun going to do? I definitely see him being a champion again. I see him getting another run with the championship. But like I said, next year, 2023, provided he's healthy, 2023 is all about Cody. So, Braun may get a title opportunity. Maybe we'll see him wrestle Roman at day one. Maybe you'll see it at Survivor Series. But don't expect him to beat him for the gold. I that's why I think you have to save this for later in terms of splitting the belts. And next year is all about Cody. Now, I did say that the one thing that could sort of fuck it up is The Rock. And what they used to do was if you didn't win the Royal Rumble, you got the second chance with the Elimination Chamber. That worked. It didn't. It sort of watered down the Royal Rumble a little bit because if I don't win, I'll get another shot at Elimination Chamber. So to me, it kind of watered it down. Now you might be saying, "Come on, man! You always seem to look like to have an issue with something." But remember the period where I watched wrestling, where that's what it was. You won the Royal Rumble, you were in the main event of WrestleMania. That was it. There was no second chances. Now, then again, back in the day, they only had one. Excuse me, they only had one championship. So, but um, what they used to do was that, like I said, you would have the elimination chamber to determine who would face the champion that wasn't picked. So what do you do with Cody if he can come back? It sort of helps the situation if Cody's not going to be ready for the Royal Rumble. I think Cody will be ready by WrestleMania. I'm sure he's going to make sure he's ready by WrestleMania. And I can guarantee you right now, it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Cody one more time. You're going to get another Cody and Seth match. It's going to happen. So let's say Cody does come back. Let's say you got The Rock. And I had said this on a one of my very first podcasts. I said that you cannot have The Rock just come in and demand a championship match. Make The Rock enter the Royal Rumble. And don't put him in at number 30. Make him work. Let other guys get like a little bit of a rub off him. Make him enter number 15, 16 or something like that. If you want to do 20 to keep him towards the end, fine. You don't have to do number 1. You don't have to do number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't make him number 10. Somewhere in the middle. Just don't make him number 30. Don't make him number 27. 17, 18, 19, 20, somewhere is in there. Make him that. Make him work. Make him get a sweat. And at the end, make him have to beat some guys. You got Braun Strowman back. Make sure Braun Strowman is one of the last guys in there he has to face. And then The Rock can win and go on to WrestleMania. Now, if Cody comes back, and let's say you don't have The Rock in the Royal Rumble, Cody comes back, he wins the Royal Rumble, but yet The Rock has the match with Roman, do you make that a triple threat? No, that shits on it. That fucks it up. It should just be Roman versus The Rock. So I think Cody gets his moment with Money in the Bank. And I think when Cody comes back, it's going to be about his redemption and him fulfilling what he did that passionate promo about winning the championship that his father didn't win. So it needs to go Rock versus Roman. Roman wins. And then you can have Cody cash in. I'm sorry. Well, yes. Well, no, I'm sorry. Have Theory cash in, and Theory becomes the champion. And then use Theory as the one to split the titles. And then have Cody win Money in the Bank. And then he begins his fairy tale. And then that helps the guys such as Braun and Karrion, Dexter, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, because now they have another belt that they can go after. Rather than everybody doing a rat race for the one guy. You have too much of an expanded roster to just have one champion. You have to have two. You have to. So, Braun being back brings some excitement. But like I said, I feel like Triple H is bringing these guys back too fast. Because to me, Karrion Kross has lost momentum. The excitement to me is not there anymore. Johnny Gargano popped up and like I said, they'll probably end up doing something with Theory, probably. But again, do you feel any more excitement that Gargano is there now? You're not letting them shine, and that's going to be my criticism when I do the AEW podcast next. Is that you brought all these guys in, especially mostly former WWE guys in, back to back to back to back to back, that their presence doesn't really mean anything anymore. You're not getting anything out of it, and now you're getting some. You're getting a bit of a fractured locker room now. So while I'm glad that they brought Braun back, you didn't do anything with Carrion yet. And I think Braun's going to get lost in the shuffle. Because now you looks like you might circle back to Carrion now and give him that bump up. And who knows, maybe it'll be Carrion versus Roman at Extreme Rules. So Braun's back. Let's see where it goes with that. Let's see if we ever see R-Truth again. Let's see if we ever see Omos again. We haven't seen Ezekiel back, and I'm wondering it's because Triple H thought it was a stupid character, and it was stupid. So will we see the resurrection of Elias? Because we haven't seen Ezekiel in a while. What's it been, 2-3 weeks now? Maybe Triple H is like, yeah, this shit was stupid. It made no fucking sense. He looked like something out of the 80s. So that's it for this one. Let me know your thoughts. And I apologize sometimes if it sounds like, I'm freezing a little bit. It's because I'm looking at Raw and talking at the same time and just trying to see what's going on. And right now they have Kevin Owens out right now because Theory is in the ring. And, they even do a bit of a character change with Kevin Owens, making him more serious, making him more viable. And the other thing is I like, with Triple H, it's like they're bringing back the continuity. And that was something that McMahon, for some reason, didn't like. And I don't understand that. And what I mean by that is that you noticed last week, and I think before that, Kevin Owens brought up about his history with Roman, how he would have won, it wasn't for them, and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that would have happened if Vince was still there. Like, one of the big things that was really stupid, I know this was some time ago, is when Undertaker and Triple H were going to wrestle at WrestleMania 27. And they made no mention of their previous match at WrestleMania 17. Triple H didn't mention it until after the match. But why were we pretending that it didn't happen? Acknowledge it. And I think that's one of the things that Triple H is going to change. Address the history, bring it in. I'm telling you, it makes the storyline so much better. Just like what Edge did with when he started the show off with the promo with Dominic, going over their history. It has to make sense. There has to be some realism to it. I know it's scripted, but still give us some realization to it. Make it somewhat realistic. Make it somewhat believable. So let me know in the comments who you think is coming back next. Do you think Bray Wyatt's coming back next? Do you think EC3 is coming back next? Or do you think there's another NXT person that might come back? Do you think Fandango might come back? Do you think Taylor Breeze might come back? He did say never close the door on it. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to get this uploaded and then I'm going to hit up with the AEW one. Thank you.